Welcome to this interview with Dr. Bartłomiej Wróblewski about the protest in Poland after the case of abortion that the Constitutional Court ruled about the three cases, and finally the defect was declared unconstitutional, the federal defects. And we are here to discuss about these guest, and I want to ask you some questions. The first, what's happening in Poland?
So 3 years ago, we went to the Constitutional Court and asked about this decision as for constitutionality of so-called organic abortion. It means abortion because of illness or being disabled children. And after 3 years, there was a judgment, and this provision of the law was said to be unconstitutional, and it is important decision because of right to life and because of human dignity. For us, the decision was pretty obvious because of an old judgment of Constitutional Court from 1997, when it was said that abortion because of social and personal issues is unconstitutional, and in fact all important principles as for protection of life were established. So in fact this judgment from October 22nd was only application of previous principles which were established, as I said, above 20 years ago. So for us, the judgment was quite obvious, but surely we did not expect it will lead to protests in Poland in such a scale.
But the law includes three cases of abortion. The first case is the health mother. The second case is now I read this the incest or the case of the rape, and the third case is the fetus is reproductively damaged. So I agree with this case.
So we asked only about one question, as I said, so-called organic abortion. We did not ask about other possibilities. So the judgment was limited only to this question.
But who are the groups that are protesting in these days in Poland? The LGBT groups?
Well, we are in a time of coronavirus, so the situation is complicated, and because of this untypical situation, different kind of problems as for limitations of mobility, for example, economic problems, and I mean, this judgment was used by opposition to express their general attitude to government of law and justice. So there are a lot of, in fact, there are a lot of reasons of this protest. So we should treat this protest as protest because of quite a lot of things connected with politics and connected with epidemia, not only with judgment of Constitutional Court.
Dr. Wróblewski, you are the leader of a party called Law and Justice. What are the aims of this party? It is a conservative party, is a Catholic party. What are the targets of this party that where are you the leader?
I'm not leader. I'm just a simple member of party and simply member of Polish Parliament. But Law and Justice is conservative party. You can say Christian conservative party. I mean, you can compare it to maybe to CSU in Germany, or Vox Party in Spain.
So, are you in the European Parliament group's popular group?
Not. We belong to conservative and reformers group in European Parliament. So it's different from Christian Democratic Group.
So your first aim is to defend the Christian morality in your country.
I don't know if I say it in this way. Christian morality is important, base of Polish constitution, of our history, of our Christianity is very important for our land. So it's something very natural for us to defend this, defend Christian values, to defend fundaments of our history, to defend our heritage. So we rely on it. It's not only a question of defending it. We rely on it. It is something essential for us.
Dr. Wróblewski, about abortion, what is your point of view? Is a moral point of view, or is about the law and the justice? So, how do you? What is your approach about this theme of this argument in your country? So you act like a Christian, or so you act like a professor, like a lawyer?
I mean, we should not try to treat everything separate, but in this case, in this judgment, we had a legal question, constitutional question, right to life, human dignity. They come from our constitution. They are most fundamental provisions of our constitution. So we had a legal case before Constitutional Court, and we should think about this question in legal terms. If it was said by Parliament, we should interpret it as political question connected with Christian morality, with convictions of majority or minority of our society. But before Constitutional Court, it is a question of human rights, first of all, and not political question.
We have a comment in this discussion from the public. There is, I have a question. Could you please explain why the protests are against the government if the judgment was made by Constitutional Court? And in which way the government could change a judgment of the Constitutional Court? If you want to answer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, politics means simplification of things a lot of times. So there is, in the interest of, it's quite easy, quite comfortable for opposition to say constitutional tribunal is law and justice is Polish church is pro-life groups, but in fact all these things are different, and we should not simplify the reality, and we should concentrate on legal discussion about judgment of constitutional court. But in fact protesters protests organizer of the protest think in political terms and try to make one thing from very different things.
I want to ask
as for parliament can in fact parliament cannot change the judgment of constitutional court only by changing constitution. By we could change conclusion of the constitutional tribunal. So it's not possible to do it by parliament. The parliament can surely do different things. For example, it should do as we say in our application, and as constitutional court, including separate opinion by two judges, said that Polish state is obliged to do more for women in which have difficult pregnancies, and should do more for disabled people. Honestly speaking, we can say that since 2015, when Law and Justice started ruling in Poland, governing Poland, we did a lot. We have done a lot of things for disabled people. So there is a big change in the last 5 years. A lot of social programs embraced disabled people, but we should do more, and there are still groups of disabled people which should be for which we should do more, and that is positive conclusion of the judgment. And Polish parliament should concentrate, Polish government should concentrate on doing more for this group of people.
Is it true that there was an attempt to ban all three cases? So the health of the mother, the incest, and the formation of the child.
A couple of years ago, there were laws which were initiated by Polish citizens. A couple of 100,000 people supported such a bill. But it did not reach majority in parliament, so it did not happen.
We have another question. Do you think that the popular protests about the sentence of a constitutional court could change the position of Polish citizens about abortion?
I mean, people have the right to protest, to express their views, their opinion. On the other hand, we should understand that not always democratic decision is possible, or democratic decision is limited by constitution and sometimes by liberties and rights of other people. We should not decide in popular vote about life and death of other citizens. But surely the protests say it is a need to talk with society, to convince, to present sometimes, to some extent, to present arguments which were presented by Constitutional Court and by us as members of Parliament, which brought this application to the court. We should convince our citizens to help more disabled people rather to stop their lives.
But do you think that in the future, the Poland it will remain a Catholic country, or the LGBT groups or party turns out and became the first force, the first political force in the parliament?
Unfortunately, I have little competence as for predicting future, and with predicting future,
your opinion?
We should be very careful. There is a proverb that we should be careful as for foreseeing future, foreseeing particularly when it concerns future. Yes, so I would not like to speculate. Polish society changes, it's sure, but it's difficult to say how things will be in 20 years. When I was younger, when I was in school, it was 1989, and the change of political system in Poland, many people said in 10-20 years Poland will be as Germany as for attitude to moral issues. Poland will not be Christian anymore. But after 30 years we can say Polish is still Christian, but it does not change that conclusion that we can see the change in Poland as for attitude to the church in the last 30 years. But still, we don't know how things will look like in 30 years. To a great extent, it depends on us, on our convictions, on our actions. It depends surely on the church himself. But we cannot say for sure anything about future.
I want to ask you a last question about the abortion and in particular the decision of the President Trump. So this evening there are the election in USA, but Trump in these days have nominated a judge in the Supreme Court that is anti-abortist. What do you think about it?
It's a good decision. The more judges in the world are people who are brave enough to say what is obvious for every reasonable person, that the life does not start after birth. Is just a change of the environment. Thanks to the present medicine, biology, we know that human life starts with conception. We are every person, I mean, our genome is unique, and it does not change after birth. It does not change when we are in 6th or 3rd month of pregnancy. It is the same from the beginning. So the decision of Polish Constitutional Court is an invitation for Western societies or for Western constitutional courts to rethink their position as for protection of human life.
Only the final sentence. how Son Jean Paul II, the last Pope, has influenced the culture in Poland.
I did not understand the question. I'm sorry.
The Pope San Jean Paul II, the last Pope, the Polish Pope that we had in decades ago, how he is influenced the culture in Poland, in the Catholic culture.
I think he influenced Polish culture and thinking in many aspects. We believe we have a freedom thanks to him to great extent. But it's not only a question of political change in Poland in 1989, but he influenced our thinking as for culture of life as well. So he influenced those who wrote Polish constitution and who judged 25 years ago and in this year now. But it is not direct influence. It's indirect influence. But surely it is an important person, one of the most important, and maybe the most important in Polish history.
Dr. Wróblewski, I want to thank you to your availability, and I wish you the best for your career and for your aim in your party, and I wish you to be the first Prime Minister in Poland, if you like it.
Thank you very much. All the best for you and for Italy.
Thank you, and we thank all the public. Thank you. And we thank all the public for their attention, and we can make this video on the YouTube channel if you wish.
Thank you very much.